Where do we even begin? Today, we're taking a look at Transformers G.I. Joe Megatron H.I.S. tank with the Baroness. I think it bears mentioning that the box art here is absolutely beautiful. The Baroness has always been one of my favorite Joe figures or Joe characters, and that H.I.S. tank is just so nice, and it does actually work for Megatron, especially in this black motif, or the traditional black motif that we end up with the H.I.S. tank. How good is the figure? Well, we're going to find out in this video review, but from what I have seen, it's not positive. But I haven't given you my thoughts of it, and I haven't even opened this box yet. See? There's still tape there. Now, if you're the type of person who likes to save their boxes, just be wary that when you cut along here, there's actually extra cardboard here on Megatron's arm. So you want to get in there and underneath, because as you could see, I've already damaged it a little bit because I did not realize there was cardboard covering up the divider between the two pieces. Even though I didn't like the Bumblebee figure, I have to give the packaging crew credit. This reveal to just the standard box is really nice. I'm not gonna lie, opening him up, he looks really derpy. Like, really, really derpy. Could they have not fit him in vehicle mode in here? I don't know why, I just really don't like the way this thing looks when the packaging is open like this. Out of the packaging, there is no denying that this figure has presence. And that's mainly because he is a large lad. Not so much in height, but in depth. I want to love this Baroness figure. I really do. It's just not great, though. And that's just a problem with the G.I. Joe 3.5-inch scale. They've never been able to nail the faces. The overall body structure, yes, but the faces, not so much. And especially with someone with glasses, they have never been able to nail that. Your Zartans, your Destros, even your Lady Jays all work pretty well, but as soon as they have something on their face, like Tomax and Zaymot, even those guys, it's a bit rough. Now, I'm not a G.I. Joe buff by any stretch of the imagination, but even G.I. Joe fans gotta say that that's not a very good face sculpt. One positive is that she does technically fit on RC/Road Rocket from Transformers Legacy, but as you can see, she doesn't fit on it that well. Ironically, she fits on a Velociraptor with no problem. It actually scales perfectly well. Just one word about Baroness, she does come with a gun and a Cobra-themed lunchbox. I just left them in the packaging. Alright, that's enough of our murderous librarian friend. Let's talk about the big boy. Megatankron! I will give Hasbro credit, they really nailed the overall aesthetic of Megatron here, and the just Decepticon symbol works well. The molding there in the armpits and in the belly work incredibly well. There's a lot of texture on the figure. You don't see it in the front, but when I turn it to the side, you'll see it. It works really well. Now, yes, he has a gigantic backpack, which I loathe, but we'll talk about the rest of it in a bit. The treads are incredibly well detailed, and look at the rivets and the molding done here on the outside of the legs. The treads and the legs work just beautifully. A nice touch that I do appreciate are these little treads that fold out from the main ones that form heels. If these weren't here, the figure would be flat on his butt. I think this is the best head sculpt we've ever gotten for a Megatron outside of the Masterpiece figures. It's just excellent. It's just fantastic. Whoever designed this head did a banger of a job. The giant backpack does serve the ability for a G.I. Joe or a Cobra figure to fit in the back there in the turret section, so that's a plus, I guess. It does spin, it does turn around here, up here, but every time I go to move it, I end up wiggling the figure because, hey, guess what? My figure's got loose hips. Now, they aren't the loosest things I've ever had. Torso is heavy. Those swivels are just too loose. I'm sorry, the hinges. The swivels, wow, that's really weird. On the one side, I broke it. It fell off. On the other side, it's loose. Huh. Okay. Oh, that requires 0 force. Okay. Posability-wise, it's a mixed bag. Head is on a post that can swivel side to side. Shoulders are on hinges and swivels, and every time I move the frickin' shoulders, they untab. Torso articulation is non-existent. This leg keeps coming off. What the ever-loving crap? I mean, come on, Hasbro. What are you doing? Oh, okay, that's not coming off easily now. Legs can kick forward and back. They are ratcheted, but good freaking luck with those loose hinges in and out. And, well, the weight of the backpack really doesn't help either. Knees bend a little over 90 degrees. This is also for the transformation. Feet are static. Good luck. So the best you can really get is kind of that. And he does come with some accessories. Those two guns up top are accessories. The shield is technically an accessory, but if you lose it, yeah, the alt mode looks awful without it. And then the fusion cannon, which is a modified fusion cannon from his original one, and it's freaking hollow. I hate this. I absolutely hate this. Third parties, non-nefs, somebody please make fillers for this, because good lord. And I didn't touch it and it moved. Are you falling over already, Megatron? Did you have too much to drink again? Continuing with the articulation, I forgot to mention the arms. They are on swivels, and they do have bend at 90 degrees. No fist articulation, which is a shame. In fact, the fists are just gray pieces, the same as the arms, and then they're painted black. The forearms are 100% hollow. There is also an extra hinge, so you can get the shoulder bits out of the way, which I do appreciate. Overall, it's kind of a mixed bag. It looks good, but that's all it's got going for it. The figure's transformation starts by crumbing to the shoulders and grabbing the shoulder pads, and flipping them all the way out like that. Next, turn the figure around, grab the shoulders, and swing them forward, and then this little extra piece up top will flip down, and then collapse the shoulder back. Do the same thing again on the other side, push the shoulder out on that hinge, flip this section down, and fold it up. If you've guessed already, yes, this is going to form the front bottom part of the tank mode. Grab the little piece that we folded down and flip it up. There is a hinge for the canopy, but then there's another hinge behind that that allows for the transformation. So flip that up, and then just leave it there. Take the entire turret section, turn it around so it's facing towards the canopy, then pull the backpack and lift it up and away from the back. Word of warning, there are pegs that this is supposed to peg into. It just sits there. It doesn't peg in all that well. And getting this blasted section to connect to the back of Megatron was painful. It was really hard, and I'm really worried I was going to break it, but it did eventually go on. So again, just pick it up, and then unpeg the shoulders. On purpose this time, not accidentally. With the shoulders unpegged, grab the chest and pull it up and away from the body. That will allow you to grab the shoulders and accordion them down like this. Then come down to the missile sections by the hips and flip them up like that. While he's filleted like a fish, come down to the heels and fold the heels back up into the bottom of the feet, and take the toes and fold them all the way up like that. Sorry, I folded them in too far. Then the legs will collapse at the knees and fold up like this. And they are supposed to come up and slide up and ratchet up underneath the figure. After folding the legs up, grab the hips and unsnap them and fold them down. And then this whole section is supposed to collapse down, and the hips will collapse into the middle of the treads, like so. So in the course of transforming this thing, the back popped off again. It's something I've been noticing is every time I transform this, the entire rear part just pops right off. So if you want to transform it with that section popped off, go right ahead. It's fine. What we'll have to do is, now that we've got the legs collapsed and the hips snapped down like it is there, we can then bring Megatron's head down and chest, peg in what were the missiles on the hips, and then they will peg in. There are these little slots inside, and they will peg in to Megatron's belly section or torso section, and that will hold the treads in place like this. And then we turn the shoulders and swing everything forward, and the arms will collapse and bend and go up underneath the feet, and they'll fit in the treads, and then we could collapse the feet and close up that gap. So bring that in, peg everything together, turn the arms so that the fists are pointing down and the forearms are pointing out, push them into place, and then fold that up and fix the front. Now that we've got the front in, we take this whole backpack section and just bring it down and hopefully snap it back into place. Yeah, this part is the part that I hate, even if it's lined up correctly. Just feels like I'm going to break the damn thing every time I try to put this backpack on, this hinge specifically. So once you get that on, you then peg in the treads in these two spots. And there we go. Oh wait, no. There's this little piece back here. Oh my god, that's this piece. That was the little shield we were talking about earlier. You have to slide that in and snap it into place, and now we are done. And yes, just like Bumblebee before, his head is in the rear of the vehicle mode, and you have to hide it with a panel that if you lose it, the alt mode is going to look incredibly stupid. I have to admit, what we end up with is a good-looking H.I.S. tank. I like the look of this thing. Got the Baroness up front, you got a core-class Megatron on the cannons. Yeah, it works. It works really well. I just wish the robot mode was as cool as this, and I also wish that the figure had some actual little wheels. Oh wait, yes it does. Those are wheels. I like this tank mode quite a bit. It is definitely a H.I.S. tank. It works well as a H.I.S. tank. As a Megatron figure, I don't think so, but the H.I.S. tank, yeah, I really do like the H.I.S. tank. That transformation, though, that just sucks. It's not fun. It's one of those transformations where everything gets in the way, and it's not enjoyable in the least bit. And here's the H.I.S. tank compared to the little AWE Striker that I've already reviewed. Yeah, as G.I. Joe vehicles, they work well. I like the look of them. We've gotten exactly what we've been asking for years. Actually, decades we've been asking for, hey, do a transforming G.I. Joe figure. Well, we got it. It ain't that great, unfortunately. Both of these figures suffer from the same exact issues. You can obviously tell that one mode was highly prioritized over another, and a lot of the budget went into paint. You've got Bumblebee, who in robot mode has excellent paint apps, especially here on the chest and on his arms. The paint apps on this figure and on the Megatron figure are great, but the figures both lack a certain something, a certain cohesiveness that a lot of Transformers figures, even the bad ones, possess. What we've got here are figures that I'm not sure were actually designed by Transformers toy designers. And from people I've spoken to here in the fandom, that bears out. These figures were designed by the G.I. Joe team with some chip-in from the Transformers team. These were not designed by Transformers toy engineers. And that makes sense why there are problems, simply because you have figures or toys that are designed from folks that are used to designing things with static modes. I mean, let's face it, G.I. Joe doesn't have many things that transform at all. In fact, I can only think of one, maybe two G.I. Joe figures or G.I. Joe toys in the whole line that actually quote-unquote transform. Inherently, this idea is not a bad idea. It's just that the execution isn't done the best. I'm really curious if a third party got a hold of a design of a H.I.S. tank or an AWE Striker. I'd really be curious what someone's like Fans Project or MMC Toys or, Make Toys doesn't exist, TFC Toys did with this, because I really think that the H.I.S. tank would be a much more enjoyable figure than what we've ended up here. If I do choose to display these figures, it's going to be in alt mode, not in robot mode, because both of these figures just suffer greatly in their robot modes. It's sad to say, but neither of these are worth the asking price, and the asking price is high. I don't like either of them, and I really wanted to. I really wanted to like both of them, but they both have design and QC issues that I just can't forgive, especially at the prices. If this was $30 and this was like 40 or 50, maybe I'd be a bit more forgiving, but at their current going price, absolutely not. Instead, go over to Sir Toys and buy a whole bunch of cool stuff, as opposed to these things. You know what? Before we end the review, I haven't given you all a good idea of the scale of these figures. So here are 86 Wreck-Gar, Voyager-class Chopper Face, 86 Hot Rod, a not-so-great motorcycle, Armada Starscream, a purple chair, a train, a mess, a goddamn trailer, a murderous skeleton, an angry dragon guy, another tank, a small Japanese compact, and a spaceship in robot mode. Alright folks, I've been Baltmatrix. Let me know what you think of everything down in the comments. I'll catch you all next time.